Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered how something so simple could carry the weight of centuries of wisdom and still amaze modern science today? That's the story of castor oil, an ancient secret, now standing in the spotlight of modern discovery. For thousands of years, our ancestors believed this golden drop held extraordinary healing powers. They didn't have labs, microscopes, or research papers, yet they trusted it, they used it, and they passed it on. And now, science asks the same question we whisper in awe: could this really work? The answer is a powerful yes. Today, research is proving what tradition always knew. Castor oil is not just a household name, it's a force of nature. It soothes inflammation, nourishes skin, supports digestion, even balances our immune response. How incredible is it when old wisdom shakes hands with modern evidence? But here's the truth: this isn't just about castor oil. It's about something bigger. It's about how we often dismiss the past as outdated, when in fact the past holds the keys to a healthier future. When ancient remedies meet scientific validation, we unlock potential we never imagined. And the best part, this trick isn't reserved for the elite. It's not locked away in a lab. It's simple, it's accessible, it's in your hands, literally. One small bottle can inspire a giant shift in the way you care for yourself. So today, I challenge you: look deeper. Don't just see castor oil as an old remedy or a modern curiosity. See it as proof that wisdom, no matter how old, deserves respect. See it as a reminder that science is not here to erase tradition, but to illuminate it. Because sometimes the bridge to tomorrow's breakthroughs is built on yesterday's secrets. And when you embrace that truth, when you blend ancient knowledge with modern science, that's when you unlock your own power to heal, to grow, to thrive, starting with something as simple as a drop of castor oil. Thank you. When we look back into history, we often marvel at the wonders of pyramids, ancient medicines, and mysterious symbols carved into stone. But have you ever paused to ask yourself, how did people, without modern laboratories or sophisticated tools, discover remedies that still shock scientists today? Castor oil is one such marvel, an ancient secret wrapped in mystery, whispered from generation to generation, yet standing resilient even in today's modern world. Imagine this: more than 4,000 years ago, in the land of pharaohs, castor oil was already known as the palace cure. Ancient Egyptians didn't just use it for beauty, they believed it carried divine healing power. Cleopatra herself was said to have used castor oil to brighten the whites of her eyes. Isn't it astonishing that what we now call a simple plant oil was once guarded as a royal secret? And here's the question that shakes us: without advanced science, how did they know it worked? Travel further east, into the world of Ayurveda, one of the oldest systems of medicine. The Sanskrit texts describe castor oil as Aranda Tela, praised for balancing the body's energies, relieving pain, and cleansing the system. Thousands of years before detox became a trendy word, Ayurvedic healers were already prescribing castor oil to reset the body. Isn't it powerful to realize that what we see on wellness blogs today is only a rebranding of something ancient, tested, and trusted for centuries? And it doesn't stop there. In traditional Chinese medicine, castor seeds were considered so potent that healers used them sparingly, carefully balancing their use to treat stubborn conditions. Ancient healers didn't just experiment randomly, they observed, they recorded, and they preserved. They passed their findings forward with reverence, almost as if they knew that one day, science would circle back and say, yes, they were right all along. But let's pause here. The question that stirs our curiosity is this: how could so many cultures scattered across continents, without communication or internet, all discover the same plant's miraculous power? Was it coincidence? Or was it an undeniable truth written in nature itself? Castor oil's mystery deepens when we look at how it traveled through time. During the Middle Ages in Europe, it was known as a powerful laxative and even a cure for wounds. In Africa, mothers used it on newborns to protect their delicate skin. In Jamaica, it became the famous black castor oil, a hair growth miracle still celebrated today. Do you see the pattern? Every culture, every era, found a unique way to unlock its benefits, and yet, the essence remained the same: castor oil heals, protects, and transforms. And here's what makes it even more fascinating: while modern science isolates and analyzes compounds like ricinoleic acid, ancient healers didn't need chemical names. They worked with intuition, with observation, and with wisdom passed down like sacred knowledge. They didn't call it anti-inflammatory. They simply said, this soothes pain. They didn't say antimicrobial. They just knew, this prevents infection. Isn't it incredible that the language was different, but the truth was the same? We live in an age where skepticism often overshadows belief. We ask for proof for peer-reviewed studies for double-blind trials. But history reminds us that proof sometimes lies not in paperwork, but in persistence. If a remedy survives thousands of years across empires, continents, and languages, doesn't that endurance itself become proof of its power? Let's think about it. How many modern medicines rise and fall within decades? How many miracle cures trend today and disappear tomorrow? Yet castor oil, simple, humble, extracted from the seed of a plant, has never lost its place. Isn't that enough to make us pause and ask, what is the mystery hidden inside this oil that refuses to fade away? And perhaps the greatest mystery of all is not the oil itself, but our relationship with it. Why do we, in the 21st century, often rediscover ancient wisdom with astonishment as if it were new? Why do we say, wow, castor oil reduces inflammation, when Ayurvedic texts already recorded it thousands of years ago? Why do we marvel at its power to grow hair, when African traditions have celebrated it for generations? The truth is, history has been whispering the answers all along. We just forgot to listen. This is what makes castor oil more than just a home remedy. It's a bridge. A bridge between eras, between intuition and science, between mystery and evidence. Every drop carries with it not only healing compounds, but also the voices of those who came before us, healers, mothers, kings, and philosophers, all testifying, this works. Trust it. Doesn't that realization give you goosebumps? So when we talk about castor oil today, let's not just see a bottle on a shelf. Let's see the weight of history it carries, the mystery it holds, and the undeniable proof that sometimes the simplest answers have been with us all along. Because when ancient secrets survive time itself, they aren't just secrets anymore, they are timeless truths. Expanded keynote 2a. Modern validation of castor oil. For centuries, castor oil stood tall on the shoulders of tradition, praised in ancient texts and rituals. But today, we live in a world where belief is not enough. We want evidence. We want explanations. We want the why and the how. And here lies the most thrilling part of the story. Modern science has stepped in, and instead of dismissing the old wisdom, it has begun to validate it. Isn't that fascinating? When researchers look at castor oil, they find it's not a miracle by accident. Its power lies in a rare fatty acid called ricinoleic acid, which makes up almost 90% of the oil. This unique compound doesn't exist in abundance in many other natural oils. And what does modern science say about it? That it has strong anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and analgesic properties. What ancient healers described as soothing pain or cleansing the body, scientists now confirm with precise chemical pathways and lab reports. Isn't it amazing when words spoken thousands of years ago suddenly get a molecular explanation today? Take inflammation, for example. Chronic inflammation is at the root of so many modern diseases: arthritis, digestive disorders, even some skin conditions. For generations, people rubbed castor oil on swollen joints or sore muscles, believing it calmed the pain. Today, studies show ricinoleic acid actually suppresses certain molecules in the body that trigger inflammation. What once sounded like folk medicine is now documented in peer-reviewed journals. Doesn't that shift the way we see it, from grandmother's trick to scientific therapy? And let's talk about the digestive system. The ancients swore by castor oil as a cleansing agent, a natural laxative. Modern pharmacology has since proven that when ingested, castor oil stimulates the small intestine, increasing movement and relieving constipation effectively. In fact, castor oil was once even listed in medical formularies as an official remedy. Isn't it mind-blowing that what people trusted in mud huts and temples is also trusted in hospitals and clinics around the world? Now, look at the skin, one of the largest organs of the body. Cleopatra may have used castor oil for her eyes, but dermatologists today highlight its antibacterial and moisturizing qualities. Studies confirm that castor oil can inhibit the growth of certain bacteria and fungi on the skin. No wonder people throughout history used it for wounds, cuts, and infections. But here's the question that makes us pause. How did they know? How could they possibly recognize antibacterial power without microscopes? Was it intuition, or was it nature whispering its secrets to those who observed carefully? The hair story is no less exciting. Generations of families in Africa, India, and the Caribbean swore that castor oil thickened and strengthened hair. For years, skeptics rolled their eyes. But now, with modern trichology, the science of hair and scalp, researchers explain that castor oil locks in moisture, reduces breakage, and improves scalp circulation, all vital for hair growth. Suddenly, the myth has turned into measurable fact. Isn't it electrifying when culture and science dance together in agreement? But here's where modern validation goes even deeper. Scientists are now investigating castor oil for its effects on the immune system. Research suggests that when applied as a pack on the skin, it can stimulate lymphatic flow, the body's natural detox system. This was once seen as a purely alternative, almost mystical practice. And now science is catching up, measuring changes in lymphocyte counts, immune markers, and circulation. Isn't it incredible that what was once dismissed as folklore now sits at the edge of cutting-edge medical research? Even pain management finds a place in this story. In clinical trials, castor oil packs have been used for patients with arthritis, menstrual cramps, and chronic pain. The results show reduced discomfort and improved quality of life. This raises a powerful question: how many lives could be improved if we simply embraced what both tradition and science agree upon? Why do we hesitate to believe in something that is natural, accessible, and proven across centuries? Of course, validation also means balance. Modern science acknowledges the risks, like the toxicity of raw castor seeds or the dangers of overdose. But instead of dismissing the oil, it gives us guidelines, safety standards, and recommended uses. Doesn't that show how tradition and modernity can work hand in hand? Wisdom guided by caution, healing guided by precision. And here lies the real magic. Castor oil is no longer just a home remedy whispered by elders. It's a subject of research in laboratories, featured in pharmacological studies, and applied in modern therapies. It has crossed the bridge from belief to evidence. Isn't that the moment we've all been waiting for, when the why finally meets the how? So when we say science is rediscovering what our ancestors already knew, it's not just a poetic statement. It's a fact. Modern validation doesn't erase tradition, it honors it, confirms it, and strengthens it. It says to the world the secrets of the past were never superstition, they were early observations of truth, waiting for modern tools to explain them. And doesn't that realization fill you with that in every drop of castor oil lies not only healing, but also a bridge between time, wisdom, and proof? Expanded Keynote 30. Healing power of castor oil. When we talk about healing, we often think of hospitals, prescriptions, and expensive treatments. But what if true healing could begin with something so simple, so natural, that it has been sitting in front of us for centuries? That's the story of castor oil, a single plant-derived oil that seems to carry a universe of healing within every drop. Let's begin with the skin, the body's first line of defense. For generations, castor oil has been applied to wounds, cuts, and infections. Today, dermatological research shows that its antimicrobial and antifungal properties can protect skin from harmful invaders. Isn't it incredible that the same oil your grandmother rubbed on cracked heels is now being studied as a protective barrier against microbes? And it doesn't stop there. Castor oil is loaded with triglycerides, which act as natural moisturizers. Unlike many chemical creams that only sit on the surface, castor oil penetrates deep into the skin, nourishing from within. That's why people battling dryness, eczema, or even acne have turned to it. In fact, its ability to dissolve dirt and oil in clogged pores makes it a natural cleanser, a detox for the skin. Imagine this, an oil that doesn't just coat the surface but truly repairs and revitalizes. Now shift to the hair and scalp. In cultures across Africa and the Caribbean, castor oil is almost sacred for hair health. Generations have massaged it into their scalps, claiming it thickens hair, prevents breakage, and accelerates growth. Modern trichology explains why castor oil locks in moisture, strengthens hair shafts, and improves circulation in the scalp. That tingling sensation you feel when massaging it isn't just in your imagination, it's stimulation at the root level. And when hair follicles receive better blood flow, guess what happens? They thrive, they grow, they resist damage. Isn't it thrilling when tradition and science harmonize so perfectly? But the healing power goes deeper, literally, into the gut. For centuries, castor oil was used as a natural remedy for constipation and digestive cleansing. It may sound old-fashioned, but modern pharmacology confirms that ricinoleic acid in castor oil activates the intestines, promoting smooth movement and detoxification. What ancient healers described as purging impurities, modern doctors describe as stimulating peristalsis. Two languages, two worlds, but one truth: castor oil heals the gut. Isn't that proof that the body listens to nature when given the right key? Beyond the gut, castor oil's healing touch extends to pain relief and inflammation. Think of swollen joints, menstrual cramps, or sore muscles. Across history, people wrapped castor oil packs around painful areas, believing the oil could draw out pain. Today, science reveals that castor oil penetrates through the skin, reducing prostaglandins, the chemicals responsible for pain and inflammation. So when someone from centuries ago pressed a warm cloth soaked in castor oil against their aching body, they weren't practicing superstition, they were practicing natural science, long before the textbooks confirmed it. And here's something even more extraordinary: the immune system connection. Studies suggest that castor oil packs can stimulate the lymphatic system, the body's built-in cleansing network. When lymphatic flow improves, toxins move out, cells regenerate, and the immune system responds more effectively. Can you imagine? Just placing oil on your skin may empower your immune system to fight harder, heal faster, and protect better. Doesn't that sound like nature whispering a secret gift into your body? The healing story doesn't end with physical health. There's a symbolic power too. Across cultures, castor oil was considered a protective force for mothers and newborns. In many African traditions, newborns were massaged with castor oil to strengthen their bodies and shield them from harm. In Ayurveda, it was prescribed for women after childbirth to aid recovery. These practices weren't just physical, they were spiritual, emotional, and cultural acts of healing. Isn't it remarkable that healing is not only about cells and tissues, but also about love, care, and connection passed down through tradition? Now think about this. In a world obsessed with synthetic drugs and instant fixes, how often do we forget that nature already designed healing tools for us? Castor oil doesn't come in fancy packaging. It doesn't need marketing gimmicks. Yet it has survived thousands of years of human history. Why? Because it works. Because it heals. Because the results speak louder than advertisements. But here's a question we all must ask ourselves. If healing can begin with something as humble as castor oil, why do we often complicate it? Why do we run after expensive solutions while ignoring the wisdom sitting right in our kitchens? Isn't it time we reconnected with the healing power that is natural, affordable, and proven through both tradition and modern science? The beauty of castor oil's healing power is its versatility. One bottle, one simple oil, can soothe the skin, restore the hair, cleanse the gut, ease pain, and support immunity. Isn't that almost unbelievable? And yet, it's true. It's not just an oil. It's a pharmacy in a bottle, a healer disguised as simplicity. So when we speak of castor oil's healing power, we're not just describing a natural remedy. We're describing an ancient partnership between humanity and nature, validated by science, carried through time, and waiting for us to rediscover it. Doesn't that realization light a fire inside you, to respect what is simple, to honor what is natural, and to embrace the healing that has always been within reach? Expanded Keynote 40, Bridging Eras, Tradition Meets Science. There's something profoundly beautiful about the moment when the old and the new stop clashing and start collaborating. For too long, tradition and science were seen as opposites. One dismissed as folklore, the other praised as fact. But what if the truth lies not in choosing one over the other, but in uniting them? What if miracles happen at the exact point where tradition shakes hands with science? Take castor oil as the perfect example. For centuries, grandmothers, healers, and sages swore by its power. They didn't know the word ricinoleic acid, yet they understood its effects. They spoke of cleansing, soothing, and restoring balance. On the other hand, science demands data, measurements, molecular breakdowns. And here's where the story gets exciting. When scientists began to test castor oil in laboratories, they found the very mechanisms that explained those ancient claims. Isn't that the definition of a bridge? Two worlds, once divided, now meeting in harmony. This bridge between eras is more than symbolic. It is transformative. Imagine the confidence it gives us when modern research validates a remedy used for thousands of years. Suddenly, what was once just tradition becomes evidence-based practice. Suddenly, people who were skeptical begin to ask, maybe our ancestors knew something we didn't. Doesn't that realization shift how we see both history and science? Let's picture it. In one corner, we have tradition, built on observation, intuition, and cultural wisdom. In the other, science, built on precision, experimentation, and controlled studies. Alone, each has limits. Tradition may lack modern explanations. Science may overlook natural simplicity. But when they meet, when they cooperate, we get the best of both worlds. Isn't that the kind of union humanity has been searching for? Wisdom with proof, belief with evidence, heritage with innovation. Think about skincare. Tradition said castor oil heals wounds and clears infections. Science proved it has antimicrobial properties. Tradition said it nourishes and softens skin. Science confirmed its high triglyceride content acts as a natural moisturizer. That's not coincidence, it's collaboration. Isn't it breathtaking when what your grandmother whispered is echoed by peer-reviewed research papers? Or take digestive health. For generations, castor oil was a natural cleanser used to relieve constipation. People trusted it long before the word pharmacology even existed. Modern studies now show that castor oil stimulates intestinal movement by activating prostaglandin receptors in the gut. What once seemed like magic is now mapped as biochemistry. Isn't that the very definition of era's meeting? Mystery decoded by measurement, tradition explained by science. The bridge extends even further to the immune system. Traditional healers used castor oil packs as a way to draw out toxins and strengthen the body. For years, this language sounded mystical, even unbelievable, to the modern ear. But today, clinical studies are showing that castor oil packs can enhance lymphatic circulation, a key process in detoxification and immunity. So was it superstition, or was it simply an early way of describing what science now validates? Doesn't this force us to reconsider how much wisdom was hidden in plain sight? And here lies the real power of this bridge. It teaches humility. Science, for all its brilliance, is still catching up to what tradition practiced without a microscope. Tradition, for all its depth, finds renewed respect when science confirms its truths. Isn't that the miracle, the moment when humility allows both sides to learn from each other? We see this happening not just with castor oil, but with countless remedies. Turmeric, ginger, honey, aloe vera. Each time science validates a traditional remedy, it's not just an experiment, it's a reunion of knowledge separated by time, now united for the benefit of humanity. Doesn't that thought stir something deep inside us, that perhaps healing is not about choosing old or new, but about weaving them together into one fabric of truth? And what does this bridge mean for the future? It means we don't have to reject tradition as outdated, nor dismiss science as too clinical. Instead, we walk on a path where ancient wisdom guides us, and modern science lights the way. Together, they don't cancel each other out, they amplify one another. Isn't that what progress should look like? Roots and wings, history and innovation side by side. This is why the story of castor oil isn't just about health, it's about philosophy. It challenges the way we think about knowledge itself. Tradition gives us stories, rituals, and practices that stood the test of time. Science gives us clarity, structure, and evidence. But alone, each is incomplete. Together, they create a harmony that heals not just the body, but also our perspective. Doesn't it inspire you to see healing not as old or new, but as eternal truth waiting to be uncovered? The bridge between eras reminds us that knowledge is not linear, it's cyclical. What was once known, then forgotten, is rediscovered again. Castor oil was never lost. It simply waited for the right moment, the right tools to prove its worth again. And isn't that what makes the union of tradition and science so magical? That miracles aren't created, they are remembered, confirmed, and reborn. Professional, inspiring, and realistic with that emotional delivery. No intro, no outro, just pure body content. Expanded Keynote 50. Everyday superpower, the simplicity of castor oil in a world where wellness often comes with a high price tag. It almost feels unbelievable that something as affordable and accessible as castor oil could hold such transformative power. We scroll through endless health products online, expensive supplements, complex routines, luxury creams, and yet here stands a humble bottle of castor oil, quietly offering a spectrum of benefits that rival the most sophisticated treatments. Isn't it ironic that the real superpower has been sitting in our homes all along? Think about it. Castor oil isn't rare, it isn't exotic, and it doesn't demand wealth or privilege to obtain. A small, inexpensive bottle carries within it solutions for skincare, hair health, digestion, pain relief, and even immunity. Isn't that the definition of an everyday superpower? Something simple enough for anyone to use, yet powerful enough to transform lives. Let's start with the skin, because appearance is often the first place people look for transformation. We spend hundreds, sometimes thousands, on creams claiming to fight acne, wrinkles, or dryness. But castor oil, with its deep, penetrating triglycerides and antimicrobial properties, provides hydration, repair, and protection at a fraction of the cost. Isn't it amazing that one simple oil can serve as moisturizer, cleanser, and healer all at once? Now move to the hair. The beauty industry sells serums and treatments that promise growth and shine, often loaded with chemicals. Yet generations before us trusted castor oil to thicken hair, strengthen roots, and promote scalp health. And here's what science confirms. It locks in moisture, reduces breakage, and improves blood circulation to the follicles. One affordable oil, multiple benefits proven across cultures and centuries. Isn't that a superpower hiding in plain sight? And here comes one of its most famous roles, digestive health. While many rely on costly medications for relief from constipation, castor oil remains one of the most effective natural remedies, stimulating intestinal movement safely when used correctly. A single spoonful can do what entire treatments aim for, without the endless side effects that come with synthetic drugs. Isn't it fascinating that a low-cost, plant-based remedy can perform the same role as pharmaceutical solutions priced many times higher, but the power doesn't stop there. It extends into pain relief and inflammation. Warm castor oil packs placed on the body have been used for arthritis, menstrual pain, and muscle aches. For the price of one bottle, a person can ease discomfort naturally without relying solely on pills or injections. Isn't it powerful when healing doesn't require emptying your wallet, but simply reaching for something so basic, so ordinary, yet so effective? Here's where the everyday superpower becomes even more impressive. It doesn't just treat problems, it supports prevention. By boosting lymphatic flow, nourishing the skin barrier, and enhancing circulation, castor oil helps the body stay resilient. That means fewer illnesses, faster recovery, and stronger immunity. Isn't that the very definition of well-being, not just fixing issues, but maintaining balance before problems even begin? And let's not ignore the psychological impact of simplicity. In today's world, wellness feels overwhelming, so many choices, routines, and expenses. But castor oil reminds us that health doesn't always require complexity. It gives people hope, showing that you don't need wealth or luxury to care for yourself. Sometimes, the most ordinary solutions are the most extraordinary. Doesn't that make you wonder why we often overlook what's right in front of us? This accessibility is what makes castor oil's superpower unique. It doesn't discriminate. It's available in pharmacies, markets, even small shops around the world. Rich or poor, urban or rural, young or old, anyone can access its benefits. That universality is rare in today's wellness industry. Isn't it empowering to realize that true transformation doesn't always come with a price tag, but can come from a plant whose gifts belong to everyone? And here's something we must recognize: its power lies not only in what it heals, but in how it encourages self-care. Using castor oil often requires you to slow down, to massage your scalp, to apply a warm pack, to take a spoonful with intention. These acts connect you with your body, reminding you that healing isn't always about rushing. It's about presence. Isn't it beautiful that something so simple teaches us the art of caring for ourselves in ways we often forget? Think about the alternatives people spend on spa treatments, expensive facials, or high-tech detox programs. Yet castor oil quietly delivers many of the same results in its own natural way. No marketing slogans, no fancy packaging, just results proven across centuries. Doesn't that redefine what real superpower looks like? What makes this story even more inspiring is how castor oil turns ordinary households into places of healing. A mother using it on her child's skin, a father soothing his sore joints, a student applying it for hair growth, a grandmother placing a warm pack to ease cramps. These are not luxury treatments, they're everyday miracles happening in kitchens and living rooms. Isn't it heart-stirring to realize that wellness is not far away, but woven into our daily lives through something so humble? And perhaps the most powerful truth of all is this: castor oil proves that transformation doesn't always require complexity, privilege, or innovation. Sometimes, the real breakthrough is remembering the simple tools already within reach. A superpower is not defined by rarity, it's defined by impact. And when one oil can impact so many aspects of health and well-being, isn't that enough to call it extraordinary? Expanded Keynote 6C Call to Action: Ancient Wisdom Meets Modern Understanding. Knowledge without action is just a story. And the story of castor oil, of ancient wisdom validated by modern science, is not meant to stay trapped in books, studies, or memories. It's meant to be lived. It's meant to empower us. It's meant to remind us that healing, wellness, and transformation are not luxuries, they're choices. And the real question is, will you take action? For centuries, healers didn't just admire castor oil, they used it. They massaged it into skin, poured it into remedies, wrapped it into packs. They didn't wait for validation because they believed in results. Today, with the evidence clear and the benefits undeniable, what excuse do we have not to embrace it? Isn't it time we stopped just talking about health and started taking charge of it? This call to action isn't about blindly following tradition, nor is it about worshiping science. It's about balance. It's about embracing the wisdom of those who came before us, while applying the clarity of modern research. It's about saying if something works, if it heals, if it empowers, why hesitate? Why not take the first step today? Imagine this. Instead of filling your bathroom shelf with countless products, you pick up one bottle of castor oil and let it work as moisturizer, cleanser, hair treatment, and natural healer. Instead of ignoring your pain or relying only on synthetic relief, you apply a warm castor oil pack and experience comfort rooted in both tradition and science. Instead of dismissing ancient practices as outdated, you view them through the lens of modern understanding and see the genius behind them. Doesn't that shift in perspective feel liberating? But here's the truth. Knowledge means nothing without consistency. Using castor oil once or twice may give you a glimpse of its power, but true transformation comes when you make it part of your routine. Just like ancient healers practiced daily rituals, you too must commit. Isn't it remarkable that the same discipline which preserved this wisdom for centuries is the same discipline that can transform your life today? And this call to action is not just about castor oil, it's bigger. It's about reclaiming the right to your own well-being. It's about not outsourcing every health choice to advertisements or trends, but learning to listen to your body, to history, to science. If healing can begin with something as humble as castor oil, what else have we overlooked? What other secrets of the past are waiting for us to rediscover? Isn't it exciting to think that we are standing at the intersection of tradition and innovation, ready to step forward with both? Taking action also means breaking the cycle of doubt. For years, many dismissed remedies like castor oil as old-fashioned, but now, with research proving its benefits, the doubt dissolves. What remains is choice. Will you act? Or will you watch as others take charge of their health while you hesitate? Isn't hesitation the greatest barrier between knowledge and transformation? Think of the generations before us. They had fewer tools, fewer resources, yet they made the most of what nature gave them. They trusted their remedies, they honored their practices, and they lived in rhythm with nature. Today, we have both, their wisdom and our science. We are more equipped than ever, but the tools are useless unless we pick them up. Doesn't that realization hit hard, that sometimes the only thing standing between us and better health is our own inaction? And here's the empowering truth. Taking charge doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can begin with one small step: choosing castor oil over a chemical-laden product, applying a warm pack for natural relief, or adding it thoughtfully into your routine. One small step compounds into daily practice. Daily practice transforms into lifelong wellness. Isn't it inspiring that something so big begins with something so small? This call to action is also about legacy. Every time you choose to embrace ancient wisdom with modern understanding, you're not just helping yourself, you're carrying forward a tradition that has survived for thousands of years. You're honoring your ancestors while also gifting the next generation with knowledge they can trust. Isn't that a powerful responsibility? To stand as a bridge between the past and the future. And let's not forget empowerment. Taking charge of your health doesn't just change your body, it changes your mindset. It reminds you that you are not powerless, not dependent on endless outside solutions. You hold the key. You make the choice. You take action. And with each choice, you write a new chapter in your own healing journey. Doesn't that fill you with a sense of strength, knowing that the power to transform is already in your hands? The call is clear. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop complicating. Start acting, blend the old with the new. Respect the wisdom of history, honor the validation of science, and step into your own role as the caretaker of your health. Because if not now, when? If not you, who?